Here we go, folks. Time now for the Throwback Thursday edition. Welcome in. It's another episode of Main Street Sports Today, presented as always by our friends of the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Wade Neely here, Chris Yao there. We come to you today from the Lee Company Mobile Studios. I am in Nashville, and I have no idea. Well, that's a lie. I kind of know where Chris Yao is, or at least I think I know, but it looks like you're in an unusual backdrop, my friend.
Yeah, I made my way out to Nevada.
Is that the should I hold my damn jokes for the rest of the show?
Yeah, I got plenty of damn jokes.
You're at the Hoover Dam. What'd you tell me? You took that photo earlier? Was that correct?
Did take this photo in 2017. I think, yeah. 2018. We went to Stagecoach in Vegas, and so this was in between those two. We flew into Vegas, drove to Indio, California for Stagecoach.
That is a heck of a damn photo. That'll be the last one for me today, I promise, folks. Big show today.
Sure.
Yeah, we've
big
got
damn show.
Big damn show, exactly. As we got a lot to get into. It's obviously Thursday, so we will break it down and we will throw it back. We had a great segment last week with Dr. Mickey Allen, who's the athletics director at Tennessee State University. That will come your way in hour number 2. Also in hour number 2, we will talk all things Titans with our friend and Titan insider Terry McCormick. And then here in just a matter of moments, it's time for Coach's Corner. We'll talk with Matt Sakowitz, who's the Richland baseball, first-year Richland baseball head coach, and the Raiders are off to a fast start this year. We'll catch up with Coach Sakowitz. We'll also hand out some hardware for our team and athletes of the week. And Chris, we'll also have some Braves chatter. Really more Braves chatter than Astros lamenting, I suppose. But at least you used to made it close last night. At least we made you work for it, right?
Yeah. Of course, a lot of folks not real happy with your first baseman, but
no, it was I actually did not get to watch any of the game last night. And so
I'll show you the play and you tell me if you think it should have been made.
Okay. I did see some chatter online, but what happened is I looked up the box score and I just said, you know what?
Never mind.
That's about par for the course. And so that was about the extent of my Braves Astros fandom. But congrats to you. Congrats to Mo as the Braves do sweep the Astros and Houston.
I was going to bring my broom in, but I didn't want to rub it in.
I understand, and I appreciate that. That's a mighty high road that you took by doing that today. So I certainly appreciate that. Hey, speaking of baseball and speaking of scores, I believe it's time to give the folks what they want. I believe it's time to bring you yesterday's scores and today's schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. It's time for the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Baseball action yesterday. Oakland down Blackman 5-1. Centennial 10. Brentwood 1. CPA 3-1 winners over Lipscomb Academy. Sycamore down Dixon County 15-2. It was Mount Juliet 3-1 winners over Gallatin. Mount Pleasant falls to Giles County 10-0. Martin Luther King 18-2 winners over Glencliff. Hendersonville 3-2 against Beach. Cookville downs Laverne 17-4. Father Ryan Blanks MBA 7-0. It was Franklin Christian and Middle Tennessee Monarchs with a 0-0 tie somehow. All right. Brentwood Academy 5-4 winners over Pope Prep. Page downs Ravenwood 7-4. It was Riverdale 11-1 winners over Rockvale. Nolansville blanks Summit 12-0. And Stewart's Creek a 7-3 winner over Wilson Central.
Softball scores from yesterday. Lawson defeated Antioch 17-0. Laverne wins by the proverbial touchdown, 14-7 over Cane Ridge. East Nashville dispatched Martin Luther King. It was 17-4 in favor, once again, of East Nashville. Friendship Christian wins a pair versus Mount Juliet Christian. How about these scores, Chris Yao? 10-0 in game 1, 26-0 in game 2. A lot of production from Friendship Christian, again, as they sweep Mount Juliet Christian yesterday. Ooh, yeah, indeed. Giles County remained undefeated in district play. They got a win versus Lawrence County who I believe was also undefeated in district play. So a battle for first place last night goes in favor of Giles County 6-2. Again, your final there. Rossview was a 1-0 winner versus Kirkwood. Macon County took care of Station Camp 4-0. Eagleville defeated Moore County 5-3. Summertown knocked off Mount Pleasant 4-1. Nolansville knocked off Siegel 8-1. Stewart's Creek defeated Wilson Central 12-2. Boys soccer scores from last night: DCA 7, Friendship Christian 1. And Chris, this was an all-timer last night. You know, if you get up by 9 goals, you invoke the quote-unquote mercy rule in soccer. Richland scored its 9th goal with 11 seconds left in the entire match. So they called the match off with 11 seconds left as they defeated Culleoka 9-0. So technically a mercy rule, but not really in that
also
sense.
Full-time.
Basically in the sense there. So again, 9-0, Richland defeated Culleoka last night. Braves action, we gave you the score 5-4 versus Houston. I believe that was in 10 innings last night. Extra inning affair as the Braves complete the series sweep versus Houston. And last night, the Sounds defeated the Storm Chasers 6-5.
Series.
Yeah, evening the series there. Good win for the Sounds. Another close game. It was a 1-run contest in favor of Nashville. Once again, 6-5 was your final.
All right, baseball action today at 4:30. Murfreesboro Central Magnet is at Coffee County. NBA is at Ensworth. Franklin Road Academy welcomes Lipscomb Academy. Good Pasture at home against Middle Tennessee Christian. Maplewood's at Hillsboro. Davidson Academy is at Joe Burns. East Nashville takes on John Overton, as well as Lewis County and Kirkwood. Both of those games have verses, which means they are not being played at either school, so check your local listings. Same for Creekwood and Waverly as well at 4:30. Gordonsville is at Mount Juliet Christian. Cane Ridge is at Pearl Cone. At 5 o'clock today, originally scheduled for 6:30, but due to impending weather, the folks at Siegel have moved up their game against Rossview from 6:30 to 5 o'clock, which is what prompted our Coach's Corner guest to need to cancel Parker Holman. So, again, Siegel hosting Rossview at 5 o'clock today. Also at 5, Franklin's and Independence. Clarksville is at McCracken County, Kentucky. Doubleheader at Santa Fe as Perry County comes into town. Forest is at Summertown. Riverside Christian's at Hampshire, and at 5:30 you can catch Station Camp at Spring Hill. At 5:45 it's Fort Campbell, Kentucky in Northwest. Culleoka's at Cannon County at 6 o'clock, as is Houston at Clarksville Academy. Middle Tennessee Monarchs at Franklin Christian. Fairview at McEwen. Loretto at Milan, or taking on Milan. Sorry, don't know where that one's at. Rockvale goes back to Riverdale at 6:30. It is Harpeth at Nashville Christian, East Hickman at Pope Prep, Richland hosting Lawrence County, Upperman at Watertown, Stewart County at West Creek, Kirkwood at Dixon County, Northeast takes on Waverly at 6:45. At 7, it's McGavock at Cheatham County, Lawson at Hume Fogg, Murfreesboro Central takes on Moore County, Farragut is at Mount Juliet, White House Heritage is at Springfield, and Eagleville at some point today is at Battleground Academy.
Start time unknown in that contest there. Softball schedule for today. 4 o'clock starts between John Overton and Hunters Lane, Portland at Macon County. At 4:30 tonight, Davidson Academy traveling to Nashville Christian. Watertown is at Smith County. Pope John Paul II is at Lipscomb Academy. Lawson will travel to Maplewood. 5 p.m. window now. Richland traveling to Culleoka tonight. White House hits the road for a showdown at Greenbrier. Hendersonville will host Gallatin, and Independence will host Ravenwood. Lawrence County will welcome Franklin County tonight. Mount Pleasant is on the road at Lewis County this evening. Summertown is at Loretto. That should be a dandy tonight. Again, over there on the south end of Lawrence County. Ezell Harding is at Mount Juliet Christian. Columbia traveling to Spring Hill. 5:30 first pitch is now as Clarksville Christian is traveling to Franklin Road Christian. Henry County will be at Kenwood tonight. Clarksville is at Kirkwood. Joe Burns traveling to Logan County, Kentucky. 5:30 showdown between Murfreesboro Central Magnet at Marshall County. Blackman is at Rockvale tonight. Centennial is at Summit. 6 o'clock contest now this evening. It is Santa Fe at Cornersville, Laverne at Lebanon, and Oakland at Riverdale. 6:30 showdowns between Wilson Central, who's hitting the road to Smyrna tonight. Clarksville Northeast is at Springfield. Cookville is at Stewart's Creek. Good Pasture is at Clarksville Academy. We do not have start times listed, so check these start times before you head out the door tonight. But on the docket, we have Moore County at Eagleville, Dixon County at East Hickman, Tullahoma at Giles County, Houston County at Hollow Rock Brewston, and also East Nashville at Pearl Cone.
We go to the pitch at 5 o'clock tonight. Clarksville Academy will welcome Davidson Academy. Middle Tennessee Christians at Columbia Academy. Zion Christian goes to Franklin Glasgow, and Good Pasture is at Mount Juliet Christian. Nashville Christian welcomes Ezell Harding. Pearl Cone playing host to Knowledge Academies, while White House travels to Springfield. Franklin Road Academy is at Webb School at 5:30. It is Marshall County at Murfreesboro Central. Tullahoma welcomes Lead Academy. Clarksville Northeast is at Clarksville Northwest at 6 o'clock. Also at 6, Spring Hill is at Coffee County. Wayne County is at Culleoka. Westmoreland is at Jackson County. And STEM Academy is at John Overton.
6:30 tonight, it'll be Kirkwood at Hillsboro. Stewart's Creek visiting Lebanon tonight. Columbia traveling to Fayetteville to take on Lincoln County. Oakland will be at Rockvale this evening. 7 o'clock kickoffs as ROSSVIEW travels to Brentwood. Clarksville is at Dixon County. Liberty Creek is at Greenbrier. Station Camp at Macon County tonight. Creekwood at Montgomery Central. Smyrna at Mount Juliet. Green Hill is at Laverne this evening. And our final contest on boys soccer action at 7:30. It will be Kenwood traveling to Harpeth. We told you about the Sounds and Storm Chasers. They continue their series tonight in Nashville at First Horizon Park. First pitch comes your way at 6:35 p.m. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your rundown. Moving right along, top story today, as always, brought to you by our friends at Piggly Wiggly at Neely's Mill. Make sure you check them out for delicious daily lunch options. Whole host of items on the menu there. But once again, Piggly Wiggly at Neely's Mill presenting our top story. And stop me if you've heard this before, but Caitlin Clark is in the news. She's in the news for a variety of reasons. Yesterday, in fact. But the perhaps more notable and more business end of the deal is that rumors are running rampant, and it's not really much of a rumor, but she essentially, for all the talk about wages and her contract and whether she should stay or go to the WNBA and her NIL endorsements, one thing is for sure, she's got a new contract coming her way, and it's from Nike as a 8-figure shoe deal worth more than $20 million appears to be in the works. Caitlin Clark has got a new signature shoe, which a lot of folks will tell you that's really when you kind of have made your mark and feel like you've really kind of arrived on the scene. And this young lady's yet to play a game in the WNBA, but already has this deal in place, it looks like, from Nike.
Yeah, man, you can't beat it. I mean, right now you cannot get more in sports. You cannot be more valuable than what Caitlin Clark is right this moment. I mean, she's got deals with Gatorade, State Farm, Panini. She wore the all Prada outfit. First time Prada's ever dressed anyone for the WNBA or NBA draft. This is Nike doing what Nike does. You know, they go get the best of the best, and it's impressive, you know, the way that Clark has been able to capitalize on her fame. But, you know, when you're talking about what was the number on the NBA or the WNBA draft, I know it was the most watched, obviously, in history. I don't know exactly what the numbers were on the viewership of that, but
stand by for that.
I just had it right here and completely lost it.
2.45 million viewers tuned into the WNBA draft Monday night.
There it is. Yep. Smashing previous records, and of course had the 18.9 during that championship game. So yeah, it's a good time to be Caitlin Clark, a good time to be Nike, and a good time to be women's basketball.
Yep. Everything is kind of surging right now. And
Even I just saw them. Washington Mystics will move their game to the big arena.
And that's a great point. You and both Doug Feinberg, who joined us on Tuesday, breaking down Monday night's draft, mentioned that several teams are immediately on the lookout for chances to move their games to bigger arenas on nights when the Fever are coming to town, because everybody kind of wants to see Caitlin kind of do her thing. And it's just out of control in terms of the eyeballs that she is bringing to the sport right now. And it's not just television ratings. It's not just, the endorsements, but now you're talking about actual, as we love to say, butts in the seats. And the fact that away teams or home teams that are playing host to the Fever are now accommodating to try and work with bigger arenas. That to me is another sign of just how insane this kind of surge in Clark Mania and also women's basketball as a whole is going right now.
Caitlin joins Sabrina Ionescu and Brianna Stewart as the 3 WNBA players who have signature shoe deals.
Good company to keep, I would imagine. I did see, I don't know if I could find this in time. Yeah, the complete history of signature shoes in the WNBA. And I was unfamiliar with a lot of these. A couple of these are...
Go back to the Air Swoops.
Yeah, a couple of these are kind of nice. That was a great one. I saw a tweet and it said, man, I had the Air Swoops circle. This was somebody pointing this out on social media today. They said, I had my Air Swoops circled in my East Bay magazine for like 5 months in a row. Just they were the apple of my eye, and I never did get them. And I'm looking at these Reeboks from Rebecca Lobo back in '97. I feel like a lot of these would play on the streets now if you were to rock a pair. I love the Lisa Leslie's from '98, which were a Nike shoe. So, and obviously
Candace Parker still has a deal with Adidas, but she doesn't have a signature athletic shoe. She does have a shoe line, but does not have an athletic shoe. I think she does street shoes. So
could get in there. And I'm reading an article, and this is from Andscape, which I'm not super familiar with, but they're breaking all these down. And lo and behold, they do have a picture of an old East Bay magazine as they're advertising the Shamiqua Holdsclaw Nike Shocks, which were a shoe that was popular in 2001 to 2002. So I'm not saying I'm going to go out.
I will tell you, Nike Shocks gave you shin splints worse than anything in the history of America. They were the worst basketball shoe ever produced.
I only owned one pair, and I was not a fan, and that was not even playing any major sports in them, but just kind of just walking around. So
we wore Converse. Converse in 1997 or 8 came back out with you. You'll remember this, the late 90s, early 2000s. They had team shoes. And so like everybody on the team wore the same shoe. And so like that was, how BSN and our friend Justin Lamb up in Williamson County, that they go out and they sell coaches these, their swag and their athletic bags and all of this stuff. Well, back then shoes were part of that deal.
Mm-hmm.
And we wore Converse because my granddad sold Converse at the sporting goods store we owned. So that was the shoes. Those were the shoes we had. And they were decent shoes. They were decent shoes. Better than Nike Shocks, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I owned one pair of Shocks, and so.
Well, I mean, they looked fine and they were comfortable if you were just, wearing them fashionably, but playing in them, awful.
Not as much.
Worst shoe ever created.
Props to Caitlin on getting that deal done. By the way, also another shoe deal was kind of announced as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the #1 seed Oklahoma City Thunder. You mentioned Converse. Looks like he is in the works to have a signature shoe deal and a 5-year extension that's also going to make him the creative director of Converse basketball. Now, that's something that kind of catches my eye right there.
That is the key to this deal. Holy crap. I mean, I've never seen an athlete be the creative director of the entire division. Now, obviously, there have been some athletes who had creative control over their personal shoe.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy's going to be creative control over the entire department. How crazy is that?
That is pretty remarkable. And depending on how in the weeds you want to get with that, if he really wants to kind of go gung-ho with it, that could be fun to watch, right? I mean, you got one of the premier players in the league, a guy that's going to probably get some consideration for MVP this year. He's not going to win it, I don't think, but certainly going to be in the mix. And now you've got him kind of running that whole department. To me, that, like you said, that is the story. Yeah, the shoe is kind of its own entity, but the fact that you're going to have creative control over everything is going to be pretty sweet, as that's going to mark the 8th signature shoe deal in Converse history. SGA will join Julius Erving, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Larry Johnson.
That's right. Grandmama,
Dennis Rodman, D Wade, and Elton Brand. So interesting business, a little sports biz talk in our top story here today, as shoe deals are abound. And I mean, Caitlin Clark, if she had probably went to Converse, she probably could have got a similar type arrangement, I would imagine, as much market share she's drawing right now.
And that's part of the deal here with, with Shea, is that he basically said, that it's exclusive kind of right now. We don't have a lot of NBA guys who are wearing Converse shoes, but, I think if you go back to even the Chuck Taylor and of course, obviously all of those 80s era brands, that's always been the shoe of basketball. So if they can start making basketball shoes again, and again, they did that in the late 90s and it worked for a little bit there before they went back to just fashion shoes with the Chucks. I mean, I don't see why Converse can't make a splash here, especially with obviously a guy of his caliber being involved. So good luck. I would love to see Converse get back into the game. I mean, more than just Nike, it's anybody. I mean, heck, I remember when Reebok was massive in the mid 90s, and then you had you had a time where Adidas was in there. And so I just like to see a little more variety, because I think the signature shoes do make the NBA a little more interesting.
I'm with you there. And I will be certainly keeping tabs on that. I know you will be, because I think a little more diversity in the marketplace could go a long way. And it will be interesting to see. Maybe to me, that inspires Nike to kind of step their game up just a little bit. So once again, those two shoe deals, that was our top story today. We've got a jam-packed next couple of segments coming your way. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick it out to a quick timeout. When we come back, we do have some hardware to hand out, as we have our team and athlete of the week coming your way. And we are efforting and hopefully going to be joined by Matthew Sakowitz, who's the Richland baseball head coach. Raiders are playing very well under Coach Sack in his first season, and that will come your way on the other side of this timeout. Once again, you're watching Main Street Sports Today. We are presented, as always, by our friends at TOA of Columbia. Chris and Wade back right after this.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Right back at it here. You're watching Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, alongside Chris Yao, Wade Neely saying hello. And we dive right in. It's Thursday, so that means it's time for Coach's Corner. And patiently waiting in the green room today, it's our honor to bring in Richland Raider baseball coach Matt Sakowitz, and he's taking some time out of practice to join us today. Coach, thank you for joining us, and I appreciate you spending some time with us here from the ball field this afternoon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Absolutely. And Coach, let's dive right in. We told our listeners it's your first year as a head coach, yes, but you've obviously been around the Raider program for a number of seasons now. And kind of first and foremost, how has the better half of your first season as a true full-time head coach gone thus far as Raider Nation goes?
Man, it's been awesome. Like you said, I've been around, and so I already knew most of the guys and, what that looked like. But they've bought in really well, and we're playing some good baseball right now and look forward to keep doing it for a little while. Yeah, you guys, start of the season, always interesting for any coach, but especially a first-year head coach. Losing a couple to start the year, then you got on a little bit of a nice hot streak kind of in the middle of March.
And then that leads us kind of into district play, where you guys have gotten off to a phenomenal start, still undefeated in District 10A. And as you and I have discussed, and we wrote about it in our Pulaski Citizen paper a couple weeks ago, what can you tell us about the pitching performance of your sophomore, Cooper Jackson, who threw back-to-back no-hitters to start district play for you guys?
Yes, sir, man. He's done a really good job. He like we talked about in the article, he's very calm, collected, doesn't really get shaken. He's done a really good job, winning every pitch, and he's, like I said, he's done a really good job with that. We've actually got him going tonight against Lawrence County.
We will keep tabs on that. And so you and I discussed obviously a lot about Cooper Jackson, but this is more than just a one-man team, and certainly even more than a one-pitcher team, as you guys have got a lot of depth in your staff. Maybe talk to us about your staff, and then also you got a bevy of arms that can throw at any given notice for you guys.
Oh, yeah, we're very blessed to have a ton of arms. Bryce Miller's been our guy for quite a few years now, and he's throwing on Mondays and done a great job. Cooper Jackson obviously has been throwing Tuesdays. Between Luke Jones, he's a junior, he's pitched well, and freshman Gage Witt has really stepped up. That's kind of rounded out our starters. We got an addition who used to go here, and he's back. He's a sophomore, Tucker Mayo. He's done a great job in relief. We've got, like you said, we got a ton of arms. It's been kind of weird for us. We haven't gotten to the bullpen as much as we'd like. We've been winning a bunch of games early, and our pitchers are going the whole game, and so we're not quite getting to the bullpen. So we haven't gotten as much in there as I'd like, but we're going to try to change that here, and kind of role played a little bit in the next few games.
Coach, when you are looking, when you're looking at this team in the Class A level, and you've got the arms that you've got, you got to feel really confident in the ability of your team to be successful when postseason does roll around. How do you get prepared for a postseason as a Class A team, where sometimes larger schools don't want to play you? Luckily, like you said, you've got Lawrence County today, but how do you get prepared for a postseason run against really good opponents?
We added another game for 2 days before our tournament starts. Hickman County wants to play, so we're going to play them, and I'm going to use that as kind of a bullpen type series. We're doing a lot of bullpens still right now with guys that aren't getting to throw in games. We've got a JV play day this Saturday, so I'm going to get a bunch of guys in. Between bullpens and probably some inter squads right before the tournament, we're just going to have to compete with each other.
It makes a lot of sense. Now, again, you think about this team, and as good as you guys have been over the last several years at Richland, what makes this team special?
Man, they've bought in. I'd say that's the first thing, and the second thing is they're all buddies. They all like each other. We're not worried about one person here or there. That they all want to win as a group, and I think that's one of the biggest things.
Absolutely. And Coach, we mentioned we're talking with Matt Sakowitz. He's the first-year Richland Raider baseball head coach. And, Coach, we're loving having you at the practice because we're hearing the ping of the bat.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we're talking a lot about the arms, but what can you tell us about the bats? Because I'm seeing you glance up. Looks like a lot of well-hit balls right now for Richland today.
Jamison Andrews just hit one out right there. Yeah, that's one thing that honestly coming into this year I thought might be our weak point. But I haven't done the numbers, but I've looked at it a little bit. We've got 16 wins, and I think 10 or 11 of them are 10-run rule games. So we're scoring a bunch of runs, doing a good job moving runners over. And, we've bunted more this year in one game than we did last year. So, we're using small ball as we need to, but we're doing real good. We're doing a real good job situationally getting runners in.
And you mentioned we've talked a little bit about pitching and bats, but it's funny you mentioned Jamison Andrews. You guys have another strong defensive team, it looks like, this year, with him kind of being right there in the inner infield for you guys. How critical is that for a team of your caliber and in a single-A team, especially to really limit those mistakes on the defensive side of the ball?
It's important. He's here looking at me. It's important. Like I said, the crazy thing is we're pretty young, very young on the infield. Jamison played as a freshman last year. We bumped him over to second, and he's done a good job there. Like I said, sorry, I keep looking around, but they're hitting, so I don't want to get hit with one. But no, they're doing a great job, and some guys have really stepped up freshman Jack Jackson's playing short for us and doing a really good job. But now we've been working, so it's been good.
We're looking forward to seeing what the Raiders do the rest of the way. You mentioned not afraid to schedule tough teams, and unless Mother Nature intervenes like it did last year, it looks like we're going to get that rivalry matchup versus Giles County again on the schedule. I believe that's set for next Thursday. Is that correct?
It is. Next Thursday is here versus Giles, and then if the weather don't get us, we're going to go to East Robertson on Friday. They're a good 1A school. So when I scheduled, I found some guys like that if we're going to be good, we got to play some good teams.
Coach, real quick, before we let you out of here, you take over in your first year after a legendary run from former Raider coach Troy Hughes. I got to ask, as Coach been around the program, I feel like he's a guy that's hard to keep away, whether he's retired or not, right?
Yeah. He left on good terms. Me and Coach Hughes are great. We're probably going to ride together on Monday and go scout a game. He's here. I talk to him all the time, and I can tell he misses it, but he's still part of us.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we're certainly rooting for you guys. Best of luck. Thank you so much for hopping in last second with us, and keep that head on a swivel at practice the rest of the way today.
For sure. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much. That's Matt Sakowitz. He is the first-year Richland Raider baseball head coach. And Chris, covering Richland the last couple of years, you made a great point. This is a team that's had success, but just looking at their turnover on the roster, they got a young team, but they're one of them programs. It's going to sound simple and cliche, but winning is kind of beget winning. And these young kids that have been a part of establishing a winning culture the last several seasons, seems like they have picked up right where they left off. They're in good shape again, undefeated in District 10A right now.
Yeah, went undefeated last year, undefeated this year, and obviously lost in the sectionals to McKenzie last year, which is no real shame in that. But that's kind of the problem that this district has had over the last several years is the region and the sectional matchups are tough. Yeah, really good baseball being played over in this area. So glad to hear that they are continuing. And it's all about arms. When you get to the postseason, the fact is, you've got to have good pitching and you've got to have a lot of it, just with the way the postseason is set up. So.
Yep, it'll be fun to keep tabs on Richland the rest of the way. And again, they're taking on Lawrence County tonight. And as it's set up, scheduled to play Zion Christian tomorrow. And then next Thursday, they got a big game versus Giles County in Linville. That game is scheduled to be broadcast on Pulaski Citizen Live. And then next Friday, traveling to East Robertson before they close with Hickman County on Tuesday, April 30th. And then
East Robertson be a good ball game.
That's going to be a great game. And I love when coaches are not afraid to take on tough teams, especially on the road. Mm-hmm. And being close to the end of the regular season, that will be a matchup, win or lose, that you figure probably will help your team in the long run. Chris, we still got some hardware to hand out.
We do indeed have some hardware to hand out. It's one of my favorite parts of the week.
Hit us with it if you don't mind.
Well, we'll do just that. How about we start with the In to Win Life Team of the Week, presented by our friends at Custom Stone Handlers, because, again, don't forget that besides the military, sports is the number one way to create leaders in the company, and Custom Stone Handlers encourages young people to get in the game. This week's Team of the Week was tough, Wade. Tough to find one because not a lot of folks played last week. The weather kind of put a damper, literally, on high school sports. But on Tuesday of last week, Warren County came over to Lindsey Nelson Stadium, the football version here in Columbia at Murray County Park. And the Columbia Central Lions boys soccer team took care of them. 6-0, the final score there. And they have the Lions have allowed just one goal since March 19th. That seems good. Is that good? That seems good.
That's quality defending.
It's
Hey,
a
the
month.
crazy thing with that's a month plus, and the crazy thing, you got to have good defending, but obviously it takes a little bit of great goalkeeping as well to keep them off like that.
Yeah. So for their efforts, the Columbia Central Lions boys soccer team is the End-to-End Life Team of the Week presented by Custom Stone Handlers. We go now to the TOA Athlete of the Week. TOA Columbia's Athlete of the Week will go down to Lawrence County, where Grayson Burleson, the Vanderbilt commit, struck out 17 and 8 2/3, allowing just one hit and issued one walk as they defeated Lewis County 1-0. It took 10 innings on April 8th, but they got the dub. Burleson went nearly the distance, and big week for the Vandy boys commit. So there you go. There you have it. Our End-to-End Life Team of the Week and the TOA Columbia Athlete of the Week.
Good stuff there. Good stuff there. Thanks again to Coach Matt Sakowitz, Richland Raider
Yeah,
baseball
great
coach.
stuff, man.
Yeah, he filled in a pinch for us, and he did not get hit by any batting practice. So that's a double win for everybody. Hey, folks, real quick, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep the baseball rolling. We will bring you this day in Braves history. We will talk about Atlanta getting the sweep versus Houston. Houston does get a little good news, however. Maybe too little too late, at least for my liking, but we'll see. And then we'll also discuss a big-time local product who had a big performance on the mound. So sit tight. We're going to take our next time out, and when we come back, we'll talk Braves as this is Main Street Sports Today, presented, as always, by TOA of Columbia.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Today in Braves history, we go back to 1994 when Ryan Klesko, Fred McGriff, and David Justice, three fantastic names right there, each homered in the first inning off of St. Louis's Rick Sutcliffe en route to a 7-1 blowout win over the Cardinals. The win improved the Braves to 13-1 on the year. That was their best start since the 1982 Braves won 13 straight to start the year and lost the next one. So also started 13-1. It just took them an extra game to get there. So that was this damn Braves history. Love some Klesko, McGriff, and Justice love, man.
Yeah, we talked about some of the old school Braves greats. You know, I'm sure you've played it, but that's still one of the great childhood memory games that you can play with your friend is you could just literally sit around and just name classic Braves. And me and my friends, I mean, that's a fun game. And then, you know, then somebody gets real wild and they just throw out Damon Berryhill and just really try and throw things off the rails.
Damon Berryhill was the backup catcher in 91. Do you know who the starting catcher was most of the time?
That's just probably prior to when I was really able to remember. So no, I don't remember.
Greg Olson.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, Greg Olson was in that. You remember when Charlie O'Brien was Maddox's personal catcher? Those were good times. It was always Javi, but Charlie O'Brien with his hockey mask.
Man, it brings nothing but, man, think about how good we had it. We knew what channel the game was going to be on, and we knew we could actually watch the game. We didn't have to worry about crazy blackout rules.
Well, I mentioned the sporting goods store back, when my grandparents owned the sporting goods store when I was a kid. And so I would come home from school, and by the time I got home, the Cubs were just about already on because they were playing an afternoon game because there was no lights at Wrigley Field to this point. So they'd play in the afternoon on WGN, and it was usually channel 3. And then you go home, you turn on TBS, and the Braves would be on at night. I mean, I was as big of a Cubs fan as I was, Sandberg and for Mark Grace and all those guys. I was as big of a Cubs fan as I was a Braves fan at one point, just because, heck, you watched them every day.
And obviously we're geographically closer to Atlanta, but that's the reason why, so many friends of mine, I mean, they tell you straight up, that's why they're Cubs fans. I got quite a few that are Cubs fans. It was just because, you just grew up watching them.
It was easy to watch. And if it's easy to watch, you typically end up a fan. It's amazing how that concept has eluded Major League Baseball for the last 15 years. Yep.
And we say all that to say that it's for me personally, I would assume a majority of Braves fans, it takes some real effort to try and get a game on television these days, if you can even get it on television at all, and without having to dabble in the dark arts and scouring the internet.
Yeah, you can't have Dish Network. You can't have YouTube TV. You can't have Hulu. You can have Fubo. You can have Direct. You can have Spectrum. I think Xfinity and most cable companies have them, but only Direct on the satellite side has the ability. And then the only streaming network I know of that has him as Fubo. So yeah, it's not easy to find Bally, and the Braves actually own their streaming rights, so you can't get it on like Amazon or anything like that. So,
Oof. Maybe that's for
tough,
the
man.
Yeah, for me as an Astros fan, maybe that's for the best because as we continue our discussion, Atlanta does get the sweep over Houston. They win at 5-4 in extra innings last night, a 10-inning affair, as the Braves improved to 12-5 on the year. They're now 8-3 on the road. On the flip side of that, Chris, Houston is now 6-14 and 4-9 at Minute Maid Park. A tale of two teams going in complete opposite directions right now.
Yeah, opposite directions, absolutely true. Don't get me wrong. Not what you want to see if you're an Astros fan, but you also have to understand that, baseball's baseball. Water's going to find its level. Baseball's going to find its level. It just always does. That's how baseball works. That's why they play 162 games, right? I want you to watch this and tell me what you think. If you think that this play should have been made. All right. So I'm going to try to make a screen here before I get super crazy. All right, here we go. This is Matt Olson at the plate.
Yeah, Abreu, you got to.
There's no way you can make that play. That was 98 off the bat.
A little harder to tell, I suppose, than yeah, you might initially.
It's 98 off the bat, and you dadgum when it hits, it took a 45-degree angle. What was he supposed to do?
Well, I was just getting ready to say everything looks like it's fixing to be routine, and then when that sucker skips like that,
yeah,
dude,
that was unfortunate. That was just an unfortunate bounce, and there was nothing the dude could do. It happens. That's how. I mean, that's baseball, and you hate it for Abreu because he looks. He's obviously the scapegoat, but I mean, he played it as well as he could. So I'm not going to give him too much, crap for that. If I'm an Astros fan, the Braves just seem, when you hit the ball as hard as the Braves hit the ball and everybody on the team hits the ball hard, that kind of stuff's going to go your way most of the time.
Yep. And yeah, when things kind of are rolling your way, guess what? These things tend to happen. And so that was in the 8th inning with Houston ahead 4-2. Atlanta ends up scoring twice in the 8th inning. And then obviously wins it. Arcia singling the winning run, what proved to be the winning run ahead in the 10th. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a little tough on that initial clip to see, but I just immediately noticed the spin. That thing just got blasted into Abreu.
Yeah.
He's probably got a pretty good bruise.
His hand probably hurts today.
Hand is probably hurting. Chest probably hurting. As thin as those Fanatics jerseys are, I'm sure he's probably feeling a little extra oomph on that today. So not a good look for Houston. Chris, you got the schedule for Atlanta pulled up. Who are they getting ready to tangle with this weekend?
This weekend is the Rangers, so we can maybe help you out.
Okay.
Sunday night baseball. So boo on that, but yeah, maybe we can help you out. Get a couple wins over the Rangers.
Why are we booing Sunday night baseball?
That's awful.
Well, at least you're able to watch it then.
I'd rather not be able to watch than have to watch an ESPN broadcast. It's awful. But
Talk
yes, I will get
Talk
to
about a trip
watch.
down memory lane, just how epic those Sunday night baseball games as a kid were growing up.
Well, they were great back then. NBC, that was great. ESPN's killed it. Like
So
they've done almost everything.
Atlanta's taking on Texas, and then the World Series. What's the word I'm looking for? Embarrassment tour continues as Houston travels to Washington this weekend, where they're also going to be having some sort of event to commemorate that 2019 team. And Strasburg is going to be there. I mean, it's when it rains, it pours if you're a Houston fan, I suppose, right now.
Goodness.
So, yep. Hey, real quick, we also wanted to mention, how about the effort for a local product, Chris Yao, as former Loretto standout, who's at Blade Tidwell, who's with the AA Binghamton squad. Is this correct? Are they the Rumble Ponies? Am I reading that correctly?
They are, in fact, the Rumble Ponies. That's oh man,
I was unaware of that till I pulled up the story.
That made
here.
me laugh too hard. Gosh.
The Rumble Ponies. Blade, however, had a fantastic effort as he struck out a season high 10 in 5 innings the other night.
Yeah, he came in relief of Max Kranick, who was rehabbing for the Mets. So Kranick comes in, does his 3, and Blade comes in, gets the dub. And then behind him, Trey McLaughlin closes it out. They actually had 18 strikeouts in the game between the 3 of them. Blade had 10 of them. So first win for him at the AA level, and a heck of a job by that club. So just wanted to give him his love. VFL, Blade Tidwell, Loretto Mustang.
And sounds like we need to get a Rumble Ponies jersey pronto then.
God, the Rumble Ponies. That's so great. So great.
They were the big, was it not just the Binghamton Mets before? Was that correct?
Yeah, I think they were the Binghamton Mets. Yeah.
So we didn't just change it. We just went full on off the rails there. The Rumble Ponies.
I don't even know what that means. Is there a horse track in Binghamton?
I would assume so, but I don't know that. And man, their logo, I'm just now looking at their logo too. Holy moly. There's a lot going on, but I kind of like it.
Binghamton Horse Stables. Yeah, I guess it's a big deal up there for racehorses.
Well, hey, I suppose, let's see. They previously, let me make sure I'm reading this right. In 2016, they announced they were going to stay in Binghamton for the foreseeable future, but they would change the name. A team contest was held. Finalists were the Bullheads, which were named after the bullhead catfish that are abundant in the nearby river. The Gobblers, which is a shout out to the rich hunting culture in the area. The Rocking Horses. Apparently, the Triple City's nickname is the carousel capital of the world. I obviously would not have known that, but another submission, the Stud Muffins. Would have been pretty good to see what kind of logo they came up with there.
Stud Muffins.
The Timber Jockeys. So a lot of these center around this carousel riding deal here.
So it must be carousels. Okay.
And then finally they agreed to what they landed on was the Rumble Ponies. So all of those are pretty good.
Ridiculously funny.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, this one's pretty funny, but wait till you hear this one.
Yeah, no doubt.
You hear Gobblers and Bullheads, and you're like, all right, they're not bad, but what else you got? And it's like, don't worry, we got a little something else for you. We got Rocking Horses, Rumble Ponies, and Stud Muffins available.
They were, in fact, the Binghamton Mets from 92 to 2016. They were the Williamsport Bills before that, when they were affiliated with the Cleveland Indians at the time and the Mariners before hooking up with the Mets and staying there for a while. So
that's the only thing that I don't get is why you don't just keep the Mets name then.
Well, because you can't sell merch because everyone just wears their New York Mets gear. That's the same reason Rome changed from the Braves to the whatever penguin they are, emperors.
Yeah, that makes sense, I suppose.
So
the Rumble ponies. What a world we live in. We'll have to be on the lookout. But yeah, props to the Braves on the sweep. Justin Verlander is going to make his debut Friday night versus the Nats. So at least a little something there potentially for the Astros. And again,
we'll throw you a party.
Yeah, please. Thank you. And then shout out to Blade Tidwell again, striking out 10 as his team. The Rumble ponies got 18 in.
Before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball has a rule for their pension program. I mean, you know that the Braves signed Satchel Paige at one time to make sure he got his and that sort of thing. Savannah, Georgia native Gary Cooper might have been the fastest man in baseball at the time that he played. And hold on, I can tell you what it is. That's going to help the reception. So, Cooper spent 42 days with the Major League Baseball club and was scheduled to play on the 43rd day, which is the threshold for earning a mandatory MLB pension. They were set to play a game, but then it was canceled. And before his next appearance, he was moved down to the minor leagues and never returned. And so for 44 years, he stood 1 day shy of earning the mandatory league pension. And a change.org petition says that Mr. Cooper has no car, no home to call his own, no savings, no pension, and struggles just to pay his phone bill every month. To support himself, Mr. Cooper works part-time as a landscaper, but lately work has been scarce. The person who started the online petition, Robert Jonas, said that he employs Cooper for landscaping for the company he owns, but it's not unheard of for this kind of request to be to be
right.
For someone to do this again. We mentioned Satchel Paige, and so they're wanting the Braves to sign him to a 1 day contract so that he can get his MLB pension. And I certainly hope the Braves organization will consider and do right by this guy, because, I mean, if not for the rain out, he would have his pension.
Yeah, that's a crazy story. And right when I pulled it up,
unfortunate too.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. Right when I pulled that up, I'm saying, okay, this is obviously a sad situation. And then you read that it was because of a rain out, and then I'm like,
it's not like they did it on purpose, right? I mean,
right. Yeah. We're gonna move you around so we don't have to pay the pension out. It just so happened that that's the way that it worked out. That's awful. And you hate the fact that we've gone on 40 plus years without this situation kind of getting rectified.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, thank you for sharing that. Cause that's potentially a nice ending to what currently is kind of an unfortunate story there, as again, former fastest man in baseball, former Braves player Gary Cooper, 1 game shy, and hopefully we can get that squared away to get his pension taken care of. Folks, we have reached the top of the hour. We're just a little beyond the top of the hour, and in our second hour, we are going to flip it back. It is Throwback Thursday after all. A week ago, we caught up with TSU, Tennessee State University Athletic Director, Dr. Mickey Allen. We had a great sit down with Dr. Allen talking all things TSU. They had a big weekend, and Mickey will join us on the other side of this timeout as we kick off hour number 2. You're watching Main Street Sports Today, presented as always by our friends at TOA of Columbia.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers. Putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Hour number 2 of Main Street Sports Today, presented as always by Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Chris Yao there, Wade Neely here. We come to you from the Lee Company mobile studios, and it is Throwback Thursday. And without further ado, we are going to kick it back to one of our favorite segments here in the last week. This time last week, in fact, we were getting ready to catch up with Tennessee State University Athletic Director Dr. Mickey Allen, as TSU had a big weekend on tap with Hall of Fame induction and spring game to follow. And we will send it out now to our Throwback Thursday interview with Dr. Mickey Allen.
Looking forward to discussing a little football and a little Hall of Fame at TSU with AD Mickey Allen, who is now back with us. Mickey, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that's way better, man. Appreciate your diligence in getting back with us. As we were saying, you know, this is y'all's first Hall of Fame induction class or induction ceremony since 2010. And with 25 members, you're kind of making up for lost time, I guess, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna have to have big classes to catch up, because there's so many legends across our multiple sports programs that we've always offered. But we have all 15 sports that we currently sponsor. Representative from each sport that'll be inducted, plus swimming and diving, and also baseball. We have some alums that are getting in as well. So we're gonna bring those two programs back. So it's just a lot of excitement around it. And like I said, we've been offline almost 14 years, so it's time to go.
There we go. And as I was saying, while you were coming back to us, you being from the area, a Murfreesboro native, a former Brentwood Academy football standout, I know you've got some familiarity with some of these folks that are going to be inducted tomorrow night. It's got to feel pretty good to you to be able to recognize these folks.
Absolutely. The one that we have a deceased member going in, King Dunlap. And so if you're from this area, you know about his son who played at Auburn through Brentwood Academy. King Dunlap Jr., his sister that was phenomenal that played at Kentucky, but that family just have an opportunity to recognize the legacy that their father left and the imprint that he left on TSU athletics and our football program is a phenomenal opportunity there. Man, we go on to Robert Covington. Man, I mean, big time NBA star, 3-and-D guy. And so Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. I can go on and on. Gerald McCray, which was a big-time receiver. But all of these individuals that we're honoring, they were very, very much impactful, not only from their respective states, but for the city of Nashville. And it's just such a rich history, Maurice. When you think about our program, from the Tiger Bells, from Ed Temple's group, we have several track athletes going in, all the way to John Merritt's group. And so, just their legacy is so rich. We're trying to continue that. And it's good for our young people that'll be there as well, our current student athletes, to be a part of a ceremony like this because they know what the standard is. And we're showing them that. And they'll be in the presence of greatness. And, it just sets the bar high. And like, hey, it's attainable. You can do it at an HBCU at a high level. And, it's going to be a good night.
Mickey, I'm particularly fascinated because I've always been a baseball fan. I've grown up a baseball fan. You guys are inducting a couple of baseball guys. I'm scrolling through here real quick. Kirk Forbes and Kenneth Joyce, the latter, the father of former TSU defensive back Eric Joyce.
Eric Joyce, right?
Who starred over at Glencliff before starring at TSU. Being able to honor folks, like you said, from those programs that no longer exist on campus, what is the importance of being able to recognize them and that legacy?
To show it that we're very much aware that it was a part of the history of our athletic program. One, that like I said, it's important to know where your feet are. And we know that programs that we got to get back to. I mean, just so much baseball talent across the state. I talked to Mookie Betts. He uses our facilities when he comes back. And his mother, Darlene, she talks about all the talent they poured into some of these RBI, which is a baseball initiative from the MLB. But being able to get that program back is going to be significant for our athletic program because you just never know, how one sport can have a transformational impact on your whole athletic program. And so I really feel we're bringing hockey to the forefront, be the first HBCU program to have hockey. But some of these sports and these windows that we're out of, like swimming, baseball, I'm even thinking about soccer. Are you kidding me? Like the Nashville SC and what they've done here in a short amount of time, knowing that, hey, we can recruit internationally, bring minorities as well as other individuals into our program to have soccer here on our campus. We need to be exploring those opportunities. And this opportunity we have to bring those individuals that competed for those programs when they were a part of Tennessee State is the first step.
So you're telling me that baseball is on y'all's radar?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So hockey, we're looking at Division I in 2025. Looking at swim and dive in 2026 and soccer, women's soccer, and then baseball, we're going to make a hard push for 2027. Yeah,
That's good to hear.
You're tugging at our heartstrings with
Absolutely.
TSU baseball. And then, Mickey, I was going to ask you, hockey got so much buzz on the initial announcement, and we're still working toward that process. Kind of what's I guess simply what's going on and what's the latest as you guys try and make that push to get ready for that inaugural season?
Yeah, so the first step was to make sure that all of our partners knew that we were very serious about this initiative. When we approached the Prez and Sean Henry and that group, they were very welcoming to receive the information on what we wanted to do, but we've had to take the appropriate steps and be strategic in this process. So the first thing was getting a feasibility study done that showed us what this space looked like from a cost analysis standpoint. So we worked with College Hockey Inc. We did a feasibility study that was paid for by the NHL. We talked to individuals from the NHL and said, hey, we need you all to invest your resources and personnel around this initiative. So they did that with assigning Kevin Weisgard to our initiative, who is a big NHL exec. And Gary Bateman as well, who is the commissioner. And so you saw we announced, once we got the feasibility study, we announced hockey that we'd be introducing it at Tennessee State University during the NHL draft, okay? And so that was huge because the world's looking in, and that was a huge platform for us. And so when we had made that announcement, what you start seeing is kids from all over the country, and you think about Canada, the Canadian kids, they're like, hey, I want to be the first. Well, we have now one of our athletes on campus, Mr. Abel. He's the first individual that believed in this program, and he did so without us hiring a coach. So we're really close, and we're gonna have a special announcement here next week on our hockey coach, identifying that leader, and then putting a development team around the program to go out and solicit and bring in funding, because it's a very expensive sport. And when we get out here and you talk about ice time, the equipment, some of those costs associated with the sport are very challenging, and that's why you don't see a lot of minorities playing the game, because it's very cost effective to make sure that you have everything in line. And so we're doing that. Our coach will go out and solicit, and we think we got a great plan to introduce it in 2025.
Absolutely. And I'm just waiting for the jersey drop so I can go ahead and get me a sweater. That's all, because I know they're going to be fresh.
Everybody wants one. You'll be one of the first to get one. I can see you and Maurice, man, they wearing it smoothly. We got Under Armour is our apparel sponsor, so
we noticed.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, apparel, right, in the HBCU space. I mean, everybody wants a hockey jersey, a hoodie, and we're working on that line, because that's going to be a revenue generating space for us to be able to fund this team. Yeah,
absolutely. Mickey Allen, Tennessee State Athletics Director, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Mickey, tomorrow night's event isn't the only thing you guys have going on campus this weekend. You got your spring game on Saturday, and hoping the weather gets a little bit better than it is right now for that.
Yeah, it's calling for, we look, I've been watching this rain, but it looks like it's going to clear up tomorrow, which is awesome. That event, on Saturday will just culminate, hopefully a great weekend for our alums and all of our internal and external constituents. We'll have recruits on campus buying with their eyes, right? Coach George is doing a phenomenal job building our program the right way on the football side of the house. I've been very, very pleased with where we are right now. We took a step, and now this year we're going to take a leap in 24. We have a big time schedule ahead of us. We start off John Merritt Classic on August 31st in Nissan against Mississippi Valley State. And then we're going to go over there and see what the Bison is doing with North Dakota State. So that's very, very much a big anticipated game, as we have a home and home series with an FCS powerhouse. You probably, for those that have been looking in our program, we played Notre Dame. We're out here in spaces that are unique, but we're doing so because we want to attract talent on our campus, and we want to give them an opportunity to play the best, because iron sharpens iron. And as you're building, you want to have a plan to get the proper exposure for your student athletes, and I think that's what we're doing. So that'll be huge Saturday for a lot of recruits. We're bolstering up. You can't have enough line play, and so hey, we're trying to improve in that area, and we're looking forward to a big time year.
You know, you talk about that North Dakota State game. You had a little extra intel into North Dakota State, and then as quick as you got it, you lost it. How much did that situation affect you all? Do you feel like Mickey bringing in the offensive coordinator and then him taking off for the Iowa State job?
Yeah, well, Tyler Roll is the coordinator that you're referencing. We had one of the best that we felt in FCS football. Tyler had just kind of the nature of college football. His best friend ends up getting elevated because the coordinator took a job with the Rams, and then he got elevated, and he brings Tyler on shortly or subsequently after we hired him. And so, but he has, I don't know if you all remember Mark Shamira, big time tight end, Brett Favre's partner. So his Tyler, when he was here, he had two assistants, Seth and Dylan Shamira, our offensive line coach and tight ends coach. And then, so we still have them in the building, which they know his system because they work with him at North Dakota State. So we have that, and we said, okay, now we got to adjust and go get one of the best coordinators and young minds in the game. And so we feel we had that in Travis Partridge. Travis, if you know the history, his father, has been a part of great offenses at UT Martin with Travis Simpson. So we got a little intel from Martin, Tennessee in our building. And so that ain't bad, because that's quite honestly, that's who we're chasing. SEMO, UT Martin. So let's go get them.
Absolutely. Mickey, we appreciate your time, man. And again, appreciate your diligence in getting back with us after some technological issues there the first time around. But sounds like you guys have a great event tomorrow night, and I know that's going to be a lot of fun for you. And like we said, hopefully this weather clears off for you on Saturday, and y'all have another great one with the spring game. But thank you.
I appreciate it, Reese. And man, the work you've always done has been highly professional in this area. You've covered sports in all facets, man. And so you're a gem, man. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
We thrive under the lights. A city of performers, putting on one heck of a show. Headlining night after night. Welcome to Smashville.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Welcome back, folks. Hour number 2 of Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia, rolling right along. Yao and I are doing our throwback dance.
Well, I was trying to get to my side.
You were trying to nudge.
I was trying to get over.
Trying to nudge producer Mark to flip flop us. Chris Yao there, Wade Neely here. We come to you from the Lee Company Mobile Studios, and Chris and I were talking earlier, and we were debating, and we said, you know what, we have not had a chance to chat with our good buddy Terry McCormick in a while, and the Titans, they're about a week away, literally a week away from deciding what they'll maybe eventually do at number 7 or potentially at another point in the first round, depending on what you may read and who you may ask. So we said, what if we just brought Terry on just to break things down? It's been too long. And so we bring in Terry McCormick of TitanInsider.com. And we're glad that he was able to join us today. He's got his Yankees lid on. He's ready to rock. Terry, good afternoon, partner.
How are you guys?
Hey, we're great. And it's always good to be with you, and it's always good to talk Titans. And before we get into the draft, I want to kind of bring up the column, your latest post on TitanInsider.com. For all the situations resolved or unresolved at the quarterback position around the NFL, it seems like we kind of somehow, some way forgot that Ryan Tannehill's services are still technically available. And as I'm reading that kind of dawned on me, and kind of enlighten our listeners, if you would. What is the latest, or is there a latest situation for Ryan Tannehill, the former Titans QB?
Well, it seems like things are just kind of in a holding pattern, Wade. It's a situation where Hill is still unsigned, as you mentioned, and as the story talks about, it's while you've seen guys trade teams here a lot this offseason, we've seen young quarterbacks that teams have given up on, whether it be Justin Fields or Kenny Pickett or who have you, be dealt. We've seen some veteran guys like Gardner Minshew and Mason Rudolph here with the Titans getting new gigs, but so far Ryan Tannehill remains on the market, and I think he's kind of faced with one of maybe 2 or 3 different scenarios. One would be to accept a backup role somewhere, and even those are starting to dwindle. Mm-hmm. And 2 would be to try to be a bridge quarterback somewhere. And let's be honest here, if you're taking a quarterback now in the top 10 or 15 of the draft, that guy's probably starting immediately. So the bridge quarterback thing is starting to go away. In fact, last year, Will Levis, of the top quarterbacks that were drafted, Will Levis was the only one that wasn't an immediate starter. The other 3, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, were all day one starters for their teams. So even that situation is starting to evaporate a little bit around the NFL. So his other option would be just to kind of wait and see, kind of do what Joe Flacco did last year. Wait till somebody needs a quarterback, be ready to go, and come in and hit the ground running. So that seems to be the options that Tannehill has facing him right now. Be a backup somewhere, try to be a bridge quarterback somewhere, or wait for a chance to get in somebody's camp at the right spot.
Yeah, and it's interesting the way you lay that all out because I think a lot of folks, maybe myself included, kind of just assumed that Tannehill would end up somewhere as Yow's ready to jump in here.
Who had Andre Dillard getting signed before Ryan Tannehill on their bingo card?
Wow.
Anybody?
Not me.
Wow.
The Packers have signed Andre Dillard, and that may be the shock of the century.
That is the shock of the century. I thought he was headed to the San Antonio Brahmas or some such place like that.
Yeah, that is certainly a shocking development. Hey, speaking of which, since Yao mentioned offensive line, Terry, the Titans' offensive line kind of continues to take shape, and that soon to be revamped offensive line got a new addition last week, as well as the Titans make a late pick swap, and they get Leroy Watson coming in a deal from the Browns. Obviously, a lot of the chatter about this is the connection with his former offensive line coach, now Titans offensive line coach Bill Callahan. But what else does Watson bring to the table as he now begins his career as a member of the Titans?
Well, he's a guy that probably would have projected to be, the equivalent of a late round pick since they gave up a seventh for him. So I'm assuming that because Bill Callahan knows him and because Rand Carthon knows him, because he was on the practice squad with the 49ers in 2022, that this is a guy that they sort of hold in high regard, or at least the ability to come in, compete for a backup spot on this offensive line. He's a converted tight end, had played tight end in college at Texas San Antonio. So, he's a little bit of a project making the move to tackle, but essentially a guy that's going to come in and probably battle to be a swing tackle for the Titans this year. I guess it would be a big ask for him to grasp the right tackle job right away out of the gate, but still an interesting move. And no word on whether he's related to Randy Watson. If you guys know what I'm talking about, great movie.
I knew that would be right in Yao's neck of the woods. That's haven't seen Coming to America in a hot minute, but I figured Yao would appreciate the reference there.
That is good.
Hey, we're talking with Terry McCormick.
That might be Eddie Murphy's best movie. I don't know. I mean, you can say Beverly Hills Cop, you can say Trading Places, but Coming to America is right up there, guys.
Yeah, you're not going to get much argument from me.
I would agree. I think I would agree.
I thought Terry might go Haunted Mansion on us, but I suppose maybe not.
If you judge a movie by how many quotable and memorable lines it has, it's definitely right there at the top.
Yep. I will agree with that for sure.
Yep. I'm just going to continue the segues here. Speaking of coming to, Terry, we're a week away from the NFL draft. What's the latest chatter that you've heard about who might be coming to Nashville as the Titans, at least for now, are in line to pick 7th overall next Thursday night?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I just put my mock draft out about 5 minutes before I came on the air here. So it is up on TitanInsider.com. And we're going to go with the usual here. We're not going to stray, very far away from what they need. And yes, I know it would be very tempting if Malik Neighbors or Brock Bowers is sitting there at number 7. But as we talked about before, when you have a glaring need like they do at left tackle, if Joe Alt is on the board, I think they have to go with him. I think that is a no-brainer. I think that you pair the best offensive line coach in the league with the best tackle prospect in the league, and you solve a position that's been a problem for a couple of years. You get back to the legacy at the position, so to speak, that this team was known for until Daly and Dillard got into the mix. They had Brad Hopkins when they first got here. He gave way to Michael Roos. He gave way to Taylor Lewan, and then after that, everything just kind of imploded. But I think Joe Alt is the smart pick. Now, that said, Callahan is an offensive line guru. You might feel okay with using a second round pick in what's a fairly deep tackle draft. But if you want a plug and play guy, I got to go with Alt with that number 7 overall pick.
Yeah, I think you're right in that regard. Now, if Alt is not there, do they go Fashanu? Do they trade back? What is the move? What's the best move if Alt, Neighbors, and Harrison are not there?
Well, I think possibly trade back. I actually like them trading back at 38 better than I like them trading back at 7 and trying to recoup that 3rd round pick. But if they're there at 7 and there is no Joe Alt to select, then, you're probably choosing from among 2 or 3 guys. If Alt is not there, that means that probably one of those receivers, probably not Harrison, perhaps Neighbors, perhaps Dunze, are there. Brock Bowers is there. You could take one of those guys, or you could trade back to one of these quarterback needy teams like the Raiders or the Broncos or the Vikings, who are wanting to come up and take J.J. McCarthy for whatever reason is on their mind. In terms
You're
of
saying that in front of a Michigan fan.
I mean, I think the guy has a chance to be a decent quarterback, but I don't know that he is going to be a world beater right out of the gate, which you would expect if you're going to take him in the top 10 of the draft.
I'm with you there, Terry. And
that's just my opinion on it.
I think a lot of the McCarthy chatter is kind of just a product of what seems like it happens every year with this NFL draft process. There's 1 or 2 prospects that kind of catch the right amount of hype and smoke, and the next thing you know, they've got a guy that maybe, I remember earlier this season, he was projected maybe not even go in the 1st round, or maybe even potentially even in the 2nd round. And now all of a sudden talk about a top 5 pick potentially.
Or Wade, or he gets all of the preseason hype and all the preseason hype, and he gets invited to the draft and doesn't get picked until the 3rd pick of the 2nd round, a la Will Levis.
Well, there's that. And here's the thing, guys, and it's been talked about, in terms of the draft. There's a quarterback draft, and then there's the rest of the draft. And the quarterback draft, a lot of times it can be feast or famine. You can pull Patrick Mahomes out of the draft, or you can pull Trey Lance. You can pull Mitch Trubisky, or you can pull Justin Herbert. It's a crapshoot, with the draft, especially at the quarterback position. And if you get stuck with a Trey Lance or a Sam Darnold or a Zach Wilson or somebody like that, you're going to regret it for a while. The Steelers already have remorse. They got rid of their disappointment in Kenny Pickett so they could take the Bears' disappointment in Justin Fields. That's how the quarterback draft, the process works. And, you keep hoping that this guy finds it, or finds the right guy, the right coordinator, the guy who can unlock that potential, because obviously all of these guys were pretty good at some point, or they wouldn't be picked in the 1st round of the draft. Right. But the reaching for quarterbacks in a draft is what can doom a franchise when you miss. And we see it all over the league.
Terry, I'm going to skip a little bit, because speaking of Eddie Murphy movies, The Distinguished Gentleman comes to mind when I look at Jordan Jefferson out of LSU. Not quite the same guy. It's not Justin. It's not quite Justin. It's Jordan. You got to be careful.
Exactly. Did I say Justin in there?
No, it says Jordan, but I'm just saying, you got to be careful when you're taking the Jefferson out of LSU. You're like, oh man, got to steal at number 5. Oh wait, I forgot the other guy's already here. No, I think this is an interesting thought process on round 2 here to go defensive edge. Obviously, they need an edge rusher, but you expect them to try to get it in the draft instead of maybe in free agency somewhere or anything like that. And then they don't go wide receiver until round 4 here.
Yeah, and this is where I ideally would trade back. If I were Rand Carthon, and somebody wants to come up, and again, you go back to that quarterback draft, maybe somebody falls in love with Michael Penix or Bo Nix, and they say, hey, I've got to have him at 38. We'll drop back and, we'll let you drop back and give you our third round pick, that sort of thing. And if I'm Rand Carthon, I have to listen to that scenario all day long because I think there are some good players in the second round that you can get. I have them taking Darius Robinson, edge rusher from Missouri, who a lot of people are comparing to Danico Autry. And I know that player comps with draft picks, that's a dangerous path to go down. But, if he's anywhere close to the production that they got from Danico Autry, it would be a heck of a pick. I would like to see them move down a little bit and pick that third pick back up because you're talking about going 68 players before they pick in the second round and they pick in the fourth round. That's a lot of quality going off the board. There was 68 guys coming off the board between Titans picks.
Yeah, that is a massive gap, and a chance, obviously, to make a move does exist and kind of get back in terms of draft depth, as it were. And that's kind of the other interesting angle to all of this, Terry, is we produce these mock drafts and we think we've got it figured out, and then things can just get ripped up in the blink of an eye, and a team like Minnesota, a team like Arizona, or the Chargers, even any of those number of teams can kind of totally reshuffle the deck, and that's just in the top 5 picks alone. So how big of a crapshoot is this thing really in terms of the Titans may not really know until literally right before they're about to select who's even available at their disposal?
Yeah, I think they'll know by number 4 or number 5. I think, there'll be, we'll see whether the Vikings or the Broncos get an itchy trigger finger and come up there and trade with the Chargers or the Giants or the Cardinals to get in front of them, to get in the line to take a quarterback. I think, we'll see that. And then I think that's a best case scenario for the Titans. If there are 4 quarterbacks that go in the top 6 picks, that is almost assures that they're going to have their choice between, Joe Alt and one of the receivers. So to me, that's a best case scenario. The problem becomes if everybody sticks and picks, and then all of a sudden, only 3 quarterbacks go with the first 3 choices, in some order. Obviously, Caleb Williams, I think we all know, is probably going 1, and then either Drake May or Jaden Daniels, probably 2 and 3 in some order. Cardinals kind of hold the key to everything here because, they're contractually wise, they're married to Kyler Murray. Do they take Marvin Harrison Jr., get him another weapon, get him a number 1 type receiver? Do they go somewhere else? Do they pick something else up? Do they trade back and allow, one of the quarterback needy teams to get in front of them? Chargers, most people think that since they got rid of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams in the offseason due to salary cap issues, that they're going receiver, that it's going to be, if Harrison's there, him. If not, could be Neighbors. But Jim Harbaugh likes to run the football. You said you're a Michigan fan. Jim Harbaugh, even though he was a quarterback, is still a proponent of the power running game, and he might like a big block of granite in Joe Alt there. And if he does, that really throws a wrench into what the Titans want to do. And then the Giants, who knows what they're doing at number 6. They could get a receiver to try to help Daniel Jones once he's healthy. They could get a replacement for Daniel Jones with one of the other quarterbacks, or they could trade out to one of the quarterback needy teams. So, and when you look at the Giants roster, outside of Saquon Barkley, they pretty much need everything. So there you go.
Yeah, the Titans are set up. If Alt falls to them, it just seems so simple, just in terms of, as you said it best a moment ago, plug and play, that it almost just feels like you can't work out that simple, right, next Thursday, Terry. I mean, nothing works that easy, surely.
Yeah, I mean, especially, unless you're picking in the top 3, it usually doesn't work that easily. But there is a chance that it will do that, and there's a chance that, if Joe Alt is there, I got to think the Titans have got to think long and hard about making that selection. And just because, for one thing, we've talked about it, in past visits and all. it's hard to fill the left tackle spot in free agency because the good ones just don't get to market. If they do, they're 35 years old or whatever. The ones that get to market are guys like Andre Dillard, and they tried that. It failed miserably. And so now the only way to address it really is in the draft, and that's going to have to be, if not at 7 with Alt, it's going to have to be at 38. And that's the interesting thing you brought up and didn't really get to answer it a while ago. Do they go with Fashanu? Some of the people I've talked to seem to think that there is a wider gap between Alt and everybody else than there is between Fashanu and tackles 2, 3, 4, and 5 in this draft. So if you're not completely sold on him, then maybe you do pick somebody else at number 7 or trade back, and maybe you do take the 4th best tackle at number 38 or the 5th best tackle at number 38.
I mean, you could conceivably trade back and get Fashanu at 14 or 15, including other picks.
That is true. That is true. You could potentially trade with, I think the Vikings are at, the Vikings are 11 or 12. The Broncos, I think, are at 13, and the Raiders are, I think it's 11, 12, and 13 that the
That's right.
Vikings, Broncos, and Raiders are all at, and all probably looking to move up to take a quarterback. So if you traded with one of those and you got back down into that 12 to 11 to 13 range, that would leave you with Fashanu if you like him. That would also leave you with Brock Bowers if you like him, and perhaps still even Roma Dunze.
Or not,
like him.
hopefully. Well, I don't, but hey, whatever.
Man,
I'm not picking, so.
There goes that out the window, I suppose. But it's all part of what's going to be a wild event next Thursday night. Terry, thank you for dropping by as always, shedding some insight on what the Titans might do, could do, and maybe even should do. We'll catch up with you after the draft and break things down. Hopefully you get a couple of nights sleep between now and next Thursday.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. That is Terry McCormick again with TitansInsider.com. Chris, is there a deep-seated beef that you have with Odunze?
No, I just don't think he's very good.
Don't rate him as high. He did seem like he got a late push from those 2 playoff games, I will admit.
Well, he got a pretty big push, particularly in the I guess in the championship game, in the conference championship game against Oregon, and was it the Apple Cup where they pretty much put the ball in his hands in the 4th quarter and let him go?
Yeah.
But that's against Washington State. That's not against the Houston Texans.
Yeah. Other interesting
Big
note
difference.
while we're talking. Yeah. Other final quick thing is important to a lot of folks are saying that Neighbors, who we've talked a lot about, if he's there, some folks are saying he would be the number 1 overall prospect in either of the last couple of drafts. So you're talking about a guy that's got number 1 or number 2 overall potential. If the Titans if he were to fall to the Titans, rather, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. If Alt is there, it does seem like the super smart and super safe play to take him. But if for some reason he's not there, it will be very interesting to see how things shake out next Thursday.
I will take Neighbors, but I would have much more rather had Neighbors in a Mike Vrabel style team. He looks and plays more like a Vrabel type wide receiver than in a Brian Callahan type wide receiver. But I mean, I think he's probably if he's there at 7, I think you got to take him. But in my opinion, I think we trade back. I think you take Fashanu at 11, 12, or 13, plus you're going to get an extra 2nd-round pick and you're going to get a 3rd-round pick most likely. So I think that's the way you go.
Yeah, I would not be shocked if that's what happens as we get into next Thursday again in the NFL draft. Once again, thanks to Terry McCormick for dropping by, TitansInsider.com. We're going to take our final time out. When we come back, we will wrap up what has been a great show today, the Throwback Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, rolls along. Grab bag time coming your way after this.
I'm Maurice Patton, and on Main Street Sports Today, we bring you the voices of your favorite teams from preps to pros.
Otherwise known as the VOT, Mike Keith.
The bottom line is we can teach Will Levis woke.
I just don't know who's going to work with you on your base stealing now that EY's gone.
Well, that has nowhere to go but up. And I was just like, oh, guys, not again. Can we just bury that, burn that footage, and not bring it back?
No.
No. Thank you. We'll keep it going past the All-Star break, and looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season plays out. There's always a good story to tell.
Can you guess where I am today, Mo? Where am I?
It's not Reese Smith Field, is it?
Yeah.
Because anytime you play Chicago, you want to win. That's just
you got that right, and
that's bottom line.
be a buzz.
When you're walking the dog, you keep the bags that you need for the dog in the bag, and you don't even have to wear it. You can just hold it, which is what I do when I walk the dog. So
I think the fanny pack probably needed a little rebranding.
It did. It really did.
On your show logo, we've got to get a puck in there. There's a basketball. There's a football, there's a baseball. Maybe it's not a puck. How about Mo brandishes a hockey stick?
Tune in daily at 2 p.m. on Main Street Media TV.
Final segment here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. We come to you from the Lee Company Mobile Studios. Alongside Chris Yao, I'm Wade Neely saying hello. And Chris, grab bag here, and we got a couple topics we wanted to get into. Any one of these in particular, jumping right out at you. We've got a Michigan-related topic that let's just save that for the end if we even got to broach it. How about that?
Well, I think it's kind of ingrained in this, as well as the NCAA rules continue to change. Obviously with transfer portal and all of the other gazillion things that keep going on right now, the NCAA has amended its free transfer rule to basically say, hey, if you've got the grades, you're all good. You don't have to sit out a year or whatever. But I think this is actually a good thing. I mean, I think if there's a way to keep student athlete an actual term in this situation, this is a way to do it. And it forces players to be engaged in the classroom or in their online classes, as most of them are taking these days.
I do love when rulings come down in various places, obviously across the country. And then years later, we have to revisit these decisions. And this one comes from Charleston, West Virginia. And so, I'm just visualizing a situation where me, you, and Mo are sitting around at an establishment talking about the next day's run of a show, and we're talking about transfer rules, and we're going to say, oh, yeah, you remember the ruling, the West Virginia ruling from 3 years ago? And I just love it, kind of like how the Ivy League decision a couple weeks ago to unionize kind of happened. And then obviously we had the O'Bannon case years ago out west. These kind of sneaky decisions kind of dictate terms, and they come from the courts, a place that the NCAA obviously does not like to dabble too much into. New rules are going into effect immediately, although in reality they've already been enacted. And that is, you make a great point when you say the student athlete part of that kind of gets protected. Hey, if you can keep your grades up to a certain threshold, then your transfer status is kind of free will. I kind of tend to like that. I mean, at least it does give you a little bit more of that illusion of a student athlete at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point is, high school players have to be eligible to play. All players, college players should have to be eligible to play. They are still students for now. Until they're not, they are. So I think this is a good move by the NCAA. Rare W from the NCAA.
Yeah, rarely. Speaking of rarely do you hear, but yeah, you still have to maintain a little bit of an academic upkeep. Having worked at the NAI level, we see it a little bit more there, unfortunately, than you do at the NCAA, because they pretty much try and protect your kids at all costs. Since you did mention it, and since we kind of teased it, Michigan does receive 3 years probation for recruiting violations that occurred during the COVID-19 dead period, to kind of give folks a frame of reference of kind of how slow the scales of justice can sometimes move. All this talk this year about Spygate, as it were, with Harbaugh and potentially what ramifications that would lead. That's why I was really never sweating what would happen this year potentially, because it feels like we take 2 or 3 years before we arrive at any sort of big decision. And we see that with Michigan kind of receiving some probation for allegations that or violations rather that occurred back in the COVID-19 period.
You know, the COVID-19 dead period and all of those things, I know that it was the rules, but it just, it just seems silly. I can't imagine Michigan were the only people doing these types of things. I think this was we think Jim Harbaugh is doing other things, and we're going to get him on tax evasion.
Yep.
Basically.
Mobster style.
Yeah. We're going to get it for tax evasion.
That's kind of what I took from this too. And that was the thing too, is all the press this year was about the new allegations, but there was a reason the guy was suspended at the beginning of this season. And that was to try and get out ahead of this situation. And it eventually has come back to haunt them. As part of the resolution, Michigan agreed to pay a fine, and the staff members accepted a 1-year show cause. Most of those staff members probably no longer at the school, I would imagine, at this point. So that's the other thing too, right? The guys that usually get in trouble have already kind of fled the scene by then.
Yeah, but you know what? I love that it's just probation, because it's basically saying, hey, all good as long as you don't screw up. And I'm okay with the NCAA doing this for punishment for future programs. The program screwed up in the past. Rather than punishing these folks, we're going to give you an opportunity to do right. And if you do right, then there is no punishment. I think that's again, rare NCAA W. Maybe not so rare these days. Maybe they're coming around.
It only took them 100+ years, but maybe they're finally learning something. Chris, as we mentioned, also the college football transfer portal kind of got underway. Anything that jumped out to you in the headlines over the last 24?
The only thing that I was a little shocked to see was Arkansas quarterback Jacoby Criswell. Seems like he's been moving around for a while now. He was at Florida, I think, at one point, and then he went to Arkansas, and now he's back in the portal. It'd be interesting to see where he ends up. But yeah, nobody else really. Again, we knew that there weren't going to be a whole lot of big names in this situation. So
I love this is semi-related, but I do love that Shedeur Sanders and Shiloh Sanders are basically recruiting agents for Colorado now. They put out respective social media messages saying, hey, if you want offense, hit this guy, hit me up. If you want defense, hit my brother up. And they're kind of serving in this new age of recruiting as the new recruiting coordinators for Coach Prime at Colorado.
There you go. I guess somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. So, and then if there's allegations, our players were doing that. We can't. They just did that on their social media. We can't be held liable for that. Surely.
Yep. No tampering. It's players. So
yeah, it should be good. Chris, tomorrow we got big Friday show lined up. Real quick.
We will have Nashville Sounds Carlos Rodriguez on with us tomorrow. Should be fun.
Looking forward to talking from, as always, a rep from the Sounds. We'll get you a weekend primer. It's been a fun week. I imagine we might even hear from Mo himself at some point tomorrow. You never know. But it's going to be a good show tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Throwback Thursday edition of the program. This has been Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. See you tomorrow.